Next, let's set the motors. So here you can see which direction each motor is supposed to spin. Now this doesn't actually control which direction the motor spin, but it only tells Betaflight which direction it expects the motor to spin, and we are going to be setting this at to reverse. And this is normally called a props out configuration because the props are spinning outwards from the camera. So please take note of these directions. We'll keep most of these by default. Here, the arming angle we will change to 180. So basically, the arming angle, by default it's set to 25 degrees, and if your quad is tilted more than 25 degrees, it's not going to arm. Now, in case you get stuck in a tree and your quad is upside down, you want to make sure that you will be able to arm your quad no matter what. So you set it to 180, which basically tells the flight controller to arm, regardless of the orientation. We can also give our craft name a name. We'll just, name this glide. Probably set RX set because we do not have, we didn't put a beeper. We want, I just want my, motors to make a sound whenever I flick the beeper switch. Just click save and reboot. So here on the motors tab, you're going to need to plug in your battery to be able to use this. Now, one more thing to do is what we need to do right now is to plug in our battery. Before you do anything, make sure that you don't have any props on your motors, because you don't want to injure yourself or damage anything by having propellers on those. And just I understand the risks. And if you just move this slightly upwards, it's going to spin the motors, and now you can tell what direction the motors are spinning, and you can compare it with the direction that Betaflight is expecting it to spin. You can put some masking tape on your motors, or you can just feel it with your fingers to determine if you need to flip to reverse a particular motor, or if they're spinning in the right direction, or at least in the same direction as in this diagram. So let's just do that. Let's just spin that very, very slowly. Okay, so I can feel my motor 1 is spinning correctly. My motor 2 is also spinning correctly. Motor 3 is not. It's spinning counterclockwise, but it's supposed to be spinning clockwise. And my motor 4 is also spinning in the right direction, which is counterclockwise. We'll just get that out. And for now, we disconnect this because we need to turn on, we need to switch to BLHeli. So now we start up BLHeli suite. Just like Betaflight, we have our flight controller connected to our computer, and we also need to have our batteries connected to our flight controller as well. So here, we can see all of our ESC settings, and we just need to click connect first, and then click on read setup, so that it reads the settings that we have on our ESC. Right, so it's going to display all of the firmware versions and all of the settings that it has for each of our ESCs. And we just need to go to Esc Flash because I want to be able to use RPM filtering, so we need to have at least 32.7, the version 32.7 or up, and we need to make sure that all of our ESCs are checked. And then we just need to click on Flash selected ESC. So it's going to flash all of our ESCs one by one. So even though we have a 4-in-1 ESC, it's still basically just 4 ESCs on the same board. So it needs to flash all of the ESCs individually. So once it's done, there's going to be a pop-up saying that the ESC has been flashed successfully, and it still reminds you that to always remove our propellers. We've already done that, so we just click on OK. We just click on ESC setup again, and remember that only our motor 3 had we only need to change direction for motor 3. So we click on the other motors and or other ESCs, and we just leave the single ESC number 3 selected, and we go to motor direction, click on the right button, and then just select reversed, and we should be good. We just need to click on right setup, so it writes to our ESC. It'll say write OK. we just go to back to the motors tab, where our ESC is going to restart. And here, just like Betaflight, we can test that we can test the direction of our ESC. So we check I understand the risks. It's going to display all 4 of your ESCs, and we can just slide motor 3, because this is the one that we need to check, verify if it's now spinning in the right direction. Of course, you can still use the master slider to make all of the motors spin, and then you can just double check that all of the motors are spinning in the right direction. Alright, so that is all we need to do for this BLHeli suite, and we are just going to exit this program and go back to Betaflight. So again, we click on connect, and going back to the configuration tab, we turn on bidirectional D-shot since we already updated our ESC firmware. And we are using 2306 motors, so we'll just keep motor poles at 14. Going back to the motors tab, we take I understand the risks, and scroll the master slider up, and you can see that the RPM is now displaying, and an error rate is also displaying, but you want to keep that as low as possible, and here it's at 0%, which is perfect.